Hello, everyone. It's Colleen Blake and Eric Quick, and welcome to Bath Time to Boardroom, where we bring you stories of working parents or parents to be and how they now blend work and life and the challenges that come with it. We're on the journey of our fifth season. This season is all about dads. Today, we have a guest co host, Josh Sello, Executive Director of West Valley Community Services in Cupertino, who I'm a big fan of. And Josh was also our first guest on Bath Time to Boardroom in season one. He'll make a few appearances this season. Josh, great to have you on board.
Eric, it's awesome to be here. I think we have a mutual admiration society because I think you're pretty incredible as well. You've done some awesome work and have been a great partner with us during the pandemic. So thank you so much for having me here today.
Absolutely.
And we're super excited because today we have the opportunity to chat with Mark Brooks, who is the co-founder and president of Ingenuity Brands, a company dedicated to food-based brain nutrition like Brainiac, with products such as applesauce, peanut butter, brain bars, and smoothies that help support brain development. He's also a dad to 3 kids.
I feel smarter already. All right. Prior to starting Ingenuity Brands, Mark has been in the alternate foods, including leading the food and ingredients algae business at Corbion, formerly TerraVia. Corbion is the leader of algae-based food, nutrition, and specialty ingredients. There he launched the Thrive Culinary Algae Oil, which I think is amazing. I actually got to taste it at one of the Expo West shows and African Organic Food shows. And I didn't know Mark was connected to it. I later found out. But yeah, it was awesome. The algae oil is an everyday cooking oil made from algae that is better for your heart and better for the planet. Mark, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This is fun. And that was far too generous an intro.
We try.
So, Mark, we're going to get started with the bath time part. So why don't we kick off with telling us a little bit more about your experience growing up and maybe what kind of influence your own parents had on your parenting style?
It's an interesting question, right? As you get older and get into being a parent, you do start to hear those echoes and hear your own parents' voices as it comes out of, undoubtedly you can sow the seeds. When I look back at the influence not only of my parents but my grandparents, and everyone probably has spotted I've got an odd accent. So I come from a little island, and so growing up in England, grandparents coming out of a post-war period, they were very much kind of figuring out. They were very much in service to others. My grandmother, think Downton Abbey, but downstairs, not upstairs. And all the hard work that entails, and then my parents, both of them, I joke a little bit with them about when they exactly left school, but it certainly wasn't 16. It was before then, and they just got straight into apprenticeships, as the opportunity provided, and starting with literally nothing, and then interstate housing, and then working hard to then buy their first place, having had kids. And that really kind of, I think has sort of informed both who I am and what I do every day, which is, I guess, you just have to, you're trying to create something that's, better for yourselves, better, creating opportunities. And you look back on what they created for me, whilst trying to kind of graft their way through, creating opportunities for their kids to be able to sort of see higher horizons, right, further. And if it was spending hard-earned cash on the first Commodore computer, and my brother's now a computer programmer, or taking me to race meets all over the country, even though you just finished closing down your shop on a Saturday. So anyway, I try and kind of bring that in. So every day, we have to create what's out there. We have to try and create those opportunities. But then I guess it's not sort of, then there isn't so much the push of, the kids have to find their own way, right? And decide what's up for them. If I can kind of open some doors that weren't open to me, which is, I guess, what I just said, that would be awesome.
Have your parents had an opportunity to see your parenting in action? And if so, what have they had to say about it?
Well, there's what they say and what they don't say. Look, I think it's the same fear that I have, right? So when you're able to provide certain things, you kind of want to make sure that your kids have the same set of values that you do, which is it took a lot to earn this, and to earn this thing. We only have a few things, so let's value them. But of course, those few things are more for my family than perhaps, and that's great. But the downside of that is, am I instilling that same sense of values? And I think that if I've not had that chat, and I probably should, the fireside chat in a country pub in England, but I'm guessing that that's partly it. Like, don't spoil the kids. But yeah, I think, look, a parent is glowingly proud of what's happening, and we're all here and happy and healthy, and so I hope that most of it's there's pride in most of it, with a kind of don't screw them up cautionary tale.
You're making me wish that I had parents that came from that little island, because a fireside parenting chat in a pub in England sounds pretty delightful, actually.
Yeah, I thought I'd bring the romance.
Well, thank you. Now, three kids, Mark. You are, as I say, outnumbered. I'm one of three also. Tell us about your kids.
So we've got girl, boy, girl. So Irina at 9 years old, Aston at 7 years old, and Ella at 4. We have, I think, from what I hear from other people, they first child, second child, third child kind of stereotypes. So you managed to put all of my anxieties onto the first one. As the second one kind of loosened up a little bit, and the third one, I don't know, she's just an absolute rock star. So but all of them just bring so much richness in terms of Irina is applying herself. She will study, learn, do, and then it's in there forever. So whether she's going through the ranks of Aikido, she's learning piano, she's a kind person. And then Aston, he's all about the heart. And through the pandemic, he had this thing, I don't know why, about chickens. He wanted to get chickens, and so middle of the pandemic, I'm like, okay, who knows where this thing's going. So now we have a chicken coop, and he's a chicken farmer, and he's selling chickens on the street corner. And not only is he selling them, now he's got subscribers, because why wouldn't you do that? That's the new economy, right? So he's and he charges for delivery, because he's got so it's $1 if you want them delivered. So that's kind of fun, seeing the entrepreneurial side. And Ella, as I say, she watched. There's a movie called Trolls that has all of the different music in it, and I was surprised, but turns out hard rock, that's her thing. So the 4-year-old, she's if she's asking anything from the speaker, it's, hey, play hard rock. So I think that tells you everything.
So not only are you cultivating their interest, sort of as you learned from your own parents, but also a good music, a good sense of music, which is wonderful.
I don't know about good, but yeah, it's there. It's varied.
No, as a parent, I know that I often like to tell, funny parenting stories to other parents. Can you tell us, something funny your kids did or said to you that gives you a chuckle?
Yeah, it was. So we get on Skype a lot, obviously, with the Gramps back home, and Aston gets onto screen and says, hey, Pops, you're still alive. Which they laughed their butt off. I mean, and so now every time it's like, hey, Aston, still here.
Yeah, that's hilarious. How about your other kids?
Maybe it's not quite as funny. The one thing that it sort of gets you to, they're good people, right? Actually, it's nice when you like your kids. Irina, she leant in, she said, Daddy, and we're just sitting outside. If you listen carefully, and then she paused thoughtfully, you can hear the world singing. Oh. So that, I'm not, too schmaltzy, but that was engraved on that piece of driftwood. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that just melts the heart. It's amazing. Sometimes kids can say the most profound, beautiful things.
Yeah. No, both of those get me in different ways.
Especially in a year that there's not felt like there's a lot of things to sing about. To have your child remind you that there's a lot of beauty in the world is really a lovely thing.
Yeah, no, very much enriching.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, like my family and Eric's family, you've probably been spending a lot of time as a family over the past 18 months. What do you do when you spend time together as a family? Not necessarily just during a pandemic, but in general. What do you like to do as a family?
We've had a great time being able to live in different places, right? So we try and embrace what's there. We spent a good number of years in Minneapolis, now in the Bay Area. So getting out and enjoying and understanding and seeing what's around. So we do like to head out to see the natural beauty, and the kids really get a kick out of that. And obviously, if we can hike or bike and keep it healthy as well, then that's great. Food has been through the pandemic and even before, and because of what I do, food is something the kids really get a kick out of. If they can be involved in making something that really probably shouldn't be eaten, but they'll lend a hand. But finding the ability to just sort of make a pizza together and just relax, Mark, whatever toppings are the toppings, it's okay, you don't have to eat it, because they will. It's all good. So I think sort of anything that kind of brings us together, if we can embrace what's around us, then that's great. And I think we're super fortunate to be where we are. So and to have the opportunity for just being able to step outside, that's been something that's brought us closer together as well.
Have you cooked anything with Aston's eggs?
Yeah.
Oh.
Although now, even though I buy the feed, which will change as he's now got an income, he's very sensitive to me taking his stock. So I've actually had to buy his eggs off of him. Which I got to change this. I'm not going to be a subscriber. I need to be more of a shareholder in this.
Exactly. You should be pulling out some of the royalties here that you're
teaching about taxes.
Yeah. Exactly.
My daughter recently told me, she's 11 years old, that she wants to open up an online store and sell merch. And I was frankly surprised she even knew the word merch. But they're very savvy with how business works in a way that I certainly wasn't at their age.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. He hasn't asked me to get the Square thing for taking the payments. And I think it's smart because everybody sees him. He's very engaging, and they always, keep the change. So if it was $3, keep the $5. Yeah. So I think he's probably smart to take cash only.
Yeah. They also have the cute factor, which I try to tell my children won't last forever. So enjoy it while it does.
Yeah, I try not to be with him when he's selling
either.
So what do you wish you'd known about having kids, Mark, before you had them?
It's, I don't know. I will say that if I knew what I knew when we had Aston as number 2 before having Irina as number 1, I indicated it earlier. I think I would be less crazy and less neurotic. I was awful. I mean, the sleeping through the night thing. Why isn't she sleeping through the night? It took a year until someone told me, and it was a pediatrician told me, Mark, you're the problem. If you just stop doing that. And then that night she slept through, it was all good. And it was my sense of over managing or over control, whatever that is, being self-critical. But with number 2, you just relax, and with number 3, even and I think that's it. I don't know. I mean, first of all, there's no education for us right ahead of time. There's some books from some people's experiences, but who knows if that's going to be right or wrong for you. So situationally, in at the deep end, fine. But I do think that I probably could have been more chilled out. And so I guess on air, I can apologize to Irina now. That won't be the last time I do that.
I'm totally with you there. I remember with my first one, I was so scared about SIDS that I spent so many nights like hovering over the crib. Did she stop breathing? You're so scared that your kid's not going to survive.
I still, 10, 7, 4, I still go downstairs just before bed, and I just make sure that everything's moving in a calm way. That was my thing, which meant I was crazy. And then wires and things near the crib and all of that thing that just, But and that's safety.
No, and Mark, you brought up a topic that we have not even covered in Bath Time to Boardroom, which is child safety. Once they start actually moving around the house, right? Whether it's open exposed plugs or now with all of our Google Homes and Alexas, the cords that are coming off and pulling those, I mean, I think we could probably spend a whole season on, childproofing your house or the biggest antics around childproofing. With Gavin early on would climb up the outside of the stairwell, and it was like he'd hang off of it like a monkey, and it was the sensory input he needed. We didn't really understand it at the time, but yeah, it was quite interesting.
So you mentioned books, and I think you're right. There are parenting books, but they don't necessarily work for your child. But also, new parents often get some crazy advice from folks who know more. Did you get any really off the wall advice on how to be a good parent?
Whether it's advice on how to be a good one or judgment on that you're a bad one, and I think that's one of the things that we as parents need to make sure we don't carry forward, right, or pay it forward. Which is I don't know what it is. It was my wife, and it was Minnesota, so she'd been stuck in a winter, by herself, on maternity leave, and got to go to an event with other moms, and she was talking about how she's looking forward to getting back to work and that social side, and another mom said, "Oh, I love my kids too much to work," and just in that phrase, just so much buried into that phrase that you just like, it's very, there's so many pressures, I think. And so many ways of doing it that are all good and all correct, and everyone's trying their best. If having a career and working for you is awesome and means you're your best parent self, fantastic. If it's not, fantastic. And if we had a birthday party here, and you do the cake, and all the kids are sitting around, and it's wonderful, and you're so proud that you're at that moment. You've sung happy birthday, you've got the right kid's name in the right place in the song, and you're about to cut up, and a mom sort of spoke loudly over the top as I'm trying to distribute joy, right? Joy in a cake. She's like, no, that's very sugary. That's too sugary for my kids. Could you just a tiny piece from? And I'm like, wow, you're really just sucking the joy out of this moment. You could like deal with it yourself, be like, oh, kids, we're gonna split, But no, right. Needed to make the declaration. And ironically, this is the same person who I later, as I was still kind of grinding my teeth on it, later went around the corner, just like on my front path, allowing her kids to just pee all over my lawn. Oh, wow, that's an irony. Look at that. Okay, I'll just walk in here.
Wow.
I think it's often like we can judge ourselves so harshly as parents. I feel often like I'm falling short in some way. Then to have that external judgment from other parents about how we show up as we're all just trying to love our kids and help them be the best adults, the human beings they can be. And I think this is often, I think to your point, often worse for moms. And really, there's a lot of pressure around moms to show up as a certain way. I picked up my kids from daycare once, and the person said, "Oh, thank you. You're such an involved dad." I'm like, I just showed up to do my job. Like, this is just picking up my kids.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I do agree. You try and become that release valve so that that balance. But it's very the pressure's on a mom and place on. It's something that's astounded me that if as dads we could help to sort of level that out a little bit, that would be a huge contribution.
Awesome. I have another question for you. What is the best part about being a dad?
So tiny anecdote from yesterday, because I think you'll feel the same experience. So I had some minutes to kill before dropping off at the summer camp, and the kids are like, "Oh, let's not just go wait in the parking lot." And I thought, you know what we can do? We'll stop into Whole Foods here. I like to involve them a little bit in what I do. So yeah, we did a little store check about some of the aisles. They find that fun. They like to put their thumbs down about products that they think, ooh, and they like to try and find us, which is wonderful. But as we walked in, we were sort of lined up in a sort of reservoir dog style, walking into the store, and then they just each quietly linked arms with me. And if nothing makes you feel kind of like, wow, they sought that, right? So I must be doing something right, as opposed to, it's the only time I think you get to wear a cape is when that happens, walking into, because it says so much about, well, I must be doing something okay, despite, we may have been having crosswords or maybe even raised voices about the silly thing that doesn't, it's like that feeling, whatever that is. And then, of course, because we overanalyze things, that sense of responsibility, right? It's just like if you're a leader in your workplace or your community, the power and weight of your words, right? So you're like, wow, just the ability for me to kind of like have an impact disproportionately because of that. It's also a good kind of cautionary thing where sometimes you look back and go, yeah, I probably handled that one a bit too strong, or maybe, so anyway, but that's the best thing for me, is just that kind of moment. And it's happened a few times, recently, where you're just like, you must be doing something okay.
Your kids are a really lovely age too. What are you most looking forward to as they get older?
I think I would flip it. I was having a conversation with Maria the other day, saying this is the time. Right now, we're between 4, 9, and everyone's about to flip, so 5 to 10, and it's going to get super awesomely complicated as we go pre-teen, teen, and now we kind of got this. I think earlier on, I was really looking forward to that little bit more independence. And now, of course, the flipper that's coming, right? So right now, I think I'm still cool, and I think that's that's an ever diminishing thing with time, right? And of course, it'll bounce back. But I think right now, what I said to her is, we have to make sure we absolutely nail these next 3 to 5 years on, from the collective. So I really want to kind of bring the focus today. And hopefully that will pay off for the future. If I can keep a little bit of that moment I described, where they come to you wanting to get that reassurance or wanting to get that advice, that would be amazing.
Thanks, Mark. It's a good reminder to savor the moments, especially now when they're young. With that, we're going to, in a little bit, dive into the boardroom. But first, let's hear what our sponsor, Brainiac Foods, has to say.
When the only fish your kids will eat are gold, give them a Brainiac. Choose from snack favorites like applesauce and peanut butter that have a boost of omega-3s, choline, and other brain-building nutrients. To learn more, visit brainiacfoods.com.
All right, Brainiac, thank you so much for that awesome commercial. Mark, love to jump into the boardroom with you. Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey from the UK to the US? So you sensed a little bit of an accent in your voice, and just want to hear the story behind it.
Yeah, the accent, 8 years in Minnesota will do that to you. Yeah, started out in the UK. I have a zigzag. Eric, I know you pretty well. I don't think you have a very linear path either. Mine is anything but linear, in terms of starting out in finance, because that was a way to continue education whilst actually paying the rent. And thankfully was able to do that. Thankfully, people along the way kind of put a hand on the shoulder and said, you know what? I had a boss. You know what? You need to leave. It was a tiny little firm. You need to go and join a multinational. If you're gonna, and did. And so that helped to change that horizon I was talking about. I joined a big global company which created some opportunities, and food wasn't really, it wasn't on my radar at all. I was trying to, I realized in finance that I was much more of the sort of value creation side than the scorekeeping side. That was definitely something that influenced it. And then probably that entrepreneurial background, working in my dad's store. And when someone said, does this come in pink? I said, yes. And then at the weekend, made it pink. And, put this is an artisan, any defects are reflective of its artisan quality sticker on it. So,
the early days of the disclaimer, the fine print on the product.
Yeah, well, it's, handcrafted, geez. Value add. So, exactly. In hindsight, I should apologize for that too. So, but that took me to, lots of opportunity in the UK, worked in Belgium, got an opportunity to come over to the US, into Minneapolis, got involved in some really cool stuff on the food side, new to the world, helping to bring stevia as a product with a fantastic team. And then, if the ability to start doing new stuff and good stuff really kind of caught hold, and met my wife, got a green card, and now sitting here as had 3 kids, so figured I should become a citizen as well to be able to stay with them. So yeah, now 2 passports. Imagine that.
That's a good objective to have. Tell us a little bit about, your dad's store, and what did that mean to you as you look back and think through kind of your pursuit kind of in your career and whatnot. How did that help shape you? How did that help guide you on what was really important to you as you navigated your career?
Yeah, there's a few things. One is that it's not easy, right? That actually building something is really hard. That what he created was he was selling premium lighting for home furnishings, and what always surprised me was the difference that he was charging X hundred pounds for a table lamp versus I can get a table lamp down here for $20, and what that was, and what that value perception at premium, and who therefore he was targeting, who would value that, and who would pay for that, but also why is that thing worth it? Because it wasn't mass produced, because it was of a limited run or made of better stuff. So that idea of price, value, quality was important, but I think overriding was like being in service to others. So whether it be for he would hire 1 or 2 people, or frankly me at the weekends as a 14-year-old going down running a store, and then not judging people that would come in the store on a Saturday about how they looked, because oftentimes it was the scruffiest, rushed person who came in at the end of the day. And so when I look at how that impacts me now, we're making products for kids, for family, for adults. Let's make sure that we actually make quality products, right, that are made from good stuff. Let's make sure that they do what they, I'm doing a functional food that has a promise for a health benefit, which I want parents to trust, and so I better do my research to make sure that it does what I say it does, and then I better make sure that we put in place the right things, and I think that's one of the things that led us to feel really passionate about becoming a certified benefit corp, because it goes far more than just kind of this idea about giving 1% to and that's something that is part of it, but it's more about how you treat employees, and how you look to develop them, and how you be inclusive, and how you are when you show up in terms of the thing you are providing, the service or product, but also how we interact with our community, our investors, and that broader set of stakeholders. So there is a direct line of sight from being 14, 15, 16 on a Saturday running a shop, and climbing a ladder, and doing what it takes, which is that entrepreneurial scrappiness, that sense of every penny counts, right? But also people are only going to come back if there's authenticity.
Yeah, clearly your son's learned that. He knows what every penny counts. That's why he's not sharing it.
Yeah,
chicken business, right?
My pennies count. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait till tax season comes on the local tax side with Dad. Tell me a little bit about, you talked about your kids and locking arms like Reservoir Dogs going into Whole Foods. That's just such an awesome visual. Tell me a little bit more about kind of their involvement in tasting the new products that Brainiac has they're rolling out, and what's their feedback? How do they provide constructive feedback, through that process?
Well, the last bit's the hard one, but so it's fun, right? You bring back the blind taste test, and you're doing a preference test, and you have to calibrate the input that a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old are going to give you, but you have to also listen. What I find, so the pre stuff in terms of preference A versus B is fine, right? The first person to go is going to lead the witnesses as well, so there's an awful lot of groupthink in that moment. So what I find really valuable, because the other thing about that is we've learned it's impossible for adults to say what a kid would prefer.
Mm-hmm.
We can't help but be sort of say, well, I would prefer more lighter organic strawberry, where back when we were doing a kid's yogurt, versus the kids like, and you know what I'd like? Skittles. And how do you do that when you're trying to do a good natural product? The most valuable thing I do is once I get the first run, I just leave it in a place in the kitchen where I know they steal stuff. And if they haven't stolen what I've put in there really quickly, we have a problem.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. That's so. What are the experiences that you've had with them with the business that that have made a difference in how you think about your business and where you're going with it?
So they are super proud, right? They take the products for lunch at school. They tell me when they spot somebody else having it in their lunchbox. So that kind of they become, and I think a bunch of the team are parents, of course, and so we're looking to make products for both the kids and the parents. So, and we all therefore use our own experience, and we have to guard ourselves against that because I don't know if mine are normal or not normal. We're probably all beautifully abnormal, which is great. But at least they kind of inspire us to think about there is that balance. What I know, at least, and it gets a little bit to what other people tell you. You can certainly read that you shouldn't give sugar to kids, but by the same account, we've assembled an advisory board made up of pediatricians, neurologists, and etc. And they guard us against it. Like, look, guys, it won't be nutritious if they don't eat it, right? And I go, that makes a lot of sense. So that's kind of become a guiding rule for us, which is, we're going to do what we can. If there's an ill in a category that we choose to enter, we're going to get rid of it. There's some stuff coming up which I'm really proud of. We will typically be lower sugar, but not at the expense of people getting the core benefits we're trying to sell. So I try and keep that in mind, right? It shouldn't be a joyless experience. And that's something which, raising a family, I think you have to balance and I think there's also something about whether we're talking about the youngest kids, the middle kids, ourselves, what is it, at a certain point, you're really curating the absolute nutrition that goes into your infant. And then there's a certain point where you're fueling that rocket ship and just trying to kind of make sure that it keeps going and making sure it's not too bad and actually pretty good. And so there's also sort of those moments where my three kids have really helped me think through what our offering is and what's most likely to be, enthusiastically adopted.
Yeah. I mean, those are, you and I've been in the food business for a long time. I mean, the ones that are keep getting stolen from that secret place, that's when you have a really solid product, right? Where there's that repeat or, for lack of a better way to put it, addiction to it, that they see value, they appreciate the taste, right? There's no way that, 20, 30, 40-year-old individual is going to be able to say what's good for the 5 to 10, 12, 13-year-old, right? They're going to pick on their own. Their tastes are changing too. And so different solutions for different age groups as well.
It's fun. So. My wife keeps coming up to my desk. Oh, how's it going? And hi. And then she reaches around and she steals a peanut butter.
No kiss for you, buddy. I'm just coming in to get some peanut butter.
She's just stealing the peanut butter. I'm like, well, that must be pretty good then. Okay. All right, good.
You just need to, position it so there's not very, they have to go through you to actually get it, right? Versus around you.
That's true. I should, yeah.
And quick plug for Brainiac. Can you just tell us a little bit about the products you have behind you, since we're seeing those? So our listeners can get a little sense of what the products you guys have out or are coming out with.
Yeah. So think about, we try and put what our growing brains, our performing brains need to be healthy, stay healthy. We try and do that by putting things like omega-3 DHA, choline, and some other things into foods that we already love, right? This stuff comes, your brain needs it. You get it from what you eat. The problem is we don't get enough because you get it in things like salmon, trout, broccoli, liver, eggs. So we get about 20% of what we need for our omega-3 DHA. We get about 2/3 for choline. So rather than try and, campaign to eat more salmon and trout, which we all should do, but maybe I can't afford that. Maybe I don't like it. So we're all about accessibility. So we try and price at a point that's mainstream. It may be a bit of a premium to the mainstream incumbent, but we do try and make sure that it's accessible. So our biggest retailer, for instance, is Walmart. So we have soda yogurts. We have some apple sauces. I've got a 7-ounce smoothie that's going to be great for all family. And then we're just launching some new stuff. So on our website now, you can see some peanut butters, which are, that's really the most indulgent, chocolate peanut butter. And then we this week, we just made our first batch of bars, which I'm super proud of. There's a big thing in the food industry that came out through Congress around heavy metals in kids' food.
Yeah.
So we reacted quickly and we stripped out brown rice and brown rice syrup. And we put in some USDA organic alternatives that are going to be really, really nice. So more to come on that. But what that tells you is you could say, oh, that's an odd array, but it's tools in the toolbox for families. My kid will love a strawberry applesauce all day long, but not all week. And so if this benefit needs to be something that is consumed daily, which World Health Organization tell us is true, then let's just provide some variety.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, this has been great diving into the boardroom with you. I think it may be time for Rapid Fire 5 with Josh.
Awesome. Let's get started. Mark, I'm going to ask you 5 questions in rapid succession. There'll be 2 answers and you can only pick one. And I'm tentatively calling this Rapid Fire 5 Summer Vacation Edition. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
First question, vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
Okay. Spouse only or with the kids?
Oh, come on. I'm in trouble both ways.
But this is
kids don't listen.
An adult, and this is an adult podcast.
No, spouse only, please.
Well done. Well done. A la carte or all inclusive?
Oh, a la carte.
Okay. Water park or amusement park?
Amusement park.
Okay. And our final question, European or American football?
What? I don't understand the second choice.
I guess that's an answer.
That is an answer. That's why we asked the question. Absolutely. Well, I think it's time for Pocket Perspectives. Mark, thanks for playing Rapid Fire 5 with us. Our Pocket Perspectives are a quotable one-liner mantra or tweet that resonates with you live by, or maybe guides your leadership style. You're up first. Josh will go, and then I will go after that.
Look, it's super lowbrow. I'm sure people have said really fun, intelligent stuff. Every day, and that's why I think it fits mantra. Before we leave, this thing has caught hold of my family, and I will say stay, and they fill in the blank, right? So stay, and they say safe, and then I say have, and they say fun, learn lots, and then I always offer and don't. So it's stay safe, have fun, learn lots, and don't. And the thing that stuck is pee in your pants. And I think as life advice, if you leave the house every day and you're all aligned on that point, figuratively or literally, it's all good.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Josh, how about you today?
Well, Mark talked about what he inherited from his family, and one of those things was the value of service to others. And this can show up both at home with your family and in the boardroom at work. So thanks for that.
That was awesome. My pocket perspective today is based off something Mark said around our role as dads in helping decrease the pressure on women and the pressure they have on parenting, whether they're a stay-at-home mom or they're a working parent. And, ultimately it's what's right for you and reminding ourselves that, while others may say silly things about parenting, it really is up to us and what's right for our situation. So Mark, been awesome. Special thank you for being our guest today. It was great having you on the program, learning a little bit more about Brainiac. And Josh, thank you for co-hosting with me today. You can learn more about the work Mark and his team are doing at Brainiac Brand or visiting brainiacfoods.com. Be sure to follow us, Bath Time to Boardroom on Instagram, like us on Facebook. You can subscribe to our new YouTube channel, or you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Play. That's a wrap. Until next time, whether it's at bath time or in the boardroom, remember to cherish these moments and make a splash. Bye for now. Gosh, it's that time.
I love it. I'm so excited.
Yes, I've got a joke for you. So how did Reese eat her ice cream?
I don't know. How?
With her spoon.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I got one for you now.
Okay.
Why do bees have sticky hair?
Why do bees have sticky hair? They're honeylicious. I don't know.
Ooh, that's a pretty good one. But no, because they use a honeycomb.
That's good. All right. So in the spirit of our summertime, why do hamburger buns never get along?
I don't know.
They always have a beef between them.
I'm going to be using this one tonight, I think, I have to say.
There you go.
That one's going to join the rotation. Okay, one more for you. You ready?
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
What did the dad say as he walked out of the lollipop store?
Got out of there without a breeze? I don't know.
So long, suckers.
Oh, and with that, so long for this week. Thanks for joining us at Bath Time to Boardroom. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.